I've had this conversation with my own kids in discussing what heroes are. For me, it is people like my parents, thrust into a situation was not of their own making. Their concern came about upon the birth of my brother Jim in 1949. We called him Jimmy, we called him Jim most of the time. Severely disabled when he was born, mentally, and he was actually blind and deaf when he was born initially. In trying to look around for help for him at the time, discovered that there really wasn't too much to be offered to them. They then decided that maybe they would try themselves to see if they could meet other people that might have the same concerns and the same problems. They put an ad in the local Danbury paper, had 2 or 3 responses from other people, and held an early meeting and went from there. My brother was never actually able to be part of the school and the organization that they started because he was too profoundly disabled. I think they reached the point, however, where they decided if they could help the others that they've encountered, in their own minds they would be accomplishing, filling in for those things that they really couldn't accomplish for my brother.
It came from the hearts of these parents who were raising children in their difficult situations and reaching out to their community for some support.
Absolutely amazed that the germ that was planted back in 1953 developed into the organization that exists today.
There were about 40 people that were being serviced in the workshop program, 36 kids in the preschool program, and now they're serving over 2,000 people. What more needs to be said? Amazing.
He wasn't diagnosed until he was almost 4 years old. And when he was diagnosed, there really wasn't a lot of knowledge about autism. My husband was in failing health, and I knew I just couldn't keep up with both of them, as I was working as well. There was an opening in what was then a sheltered workshop at DATAR, now Ability Beyond Disability. At about that time, Peter had learned to use facilitator communication. They placed Peter at a keyboard, and the first thing he typed was, "For the first time in my life, you will understand me." He was so right with his first opening sentence to me. "You will now understand me." And I never did before. I was always guessing. Peter doesn't have tantrums anymore. Peter used to bite himself. He would bite other people. He would bang his chest till he'd be black and blue sometimes from the banging. He doesn't do that anymore. You know, he's so content. He's so happy. I'm so happy that he's loved and that he responds to that. And that means everything to me.
Justin is our 28-year-old son who was born with Dandy Walker syndrome,
which leaves him physically and cognitively challenged. So he needs help with everything. He's a very social young man. He's not behavioral. He's a very happy young man. Somebody said ability beyond disability. And then I started investigating and looking into it, and then I called and I came to talk to people about the program, and then it all took off from there.
We were very dissatisfied with the previous program, and we're delighted with Ability Beyond Disability. Could not be happier.
You know, they help him with his activities of daily living, like, you know, helping to feed himself with lunch. And they have a sensory room they do. And they walk him with his walker or put him in a stander. And then they go out and do something social. And he's made some friends.
We know everyone cares about him. He's taken care of. He's engaged with activities. He enjoys it, and it's one less piece of stress for us in an otherwise very stressful life of with having a disabled child.
34 years ago, he was born and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. At the same time, Ryan's mom developed cancer and subsequently passed away.
I never had children, and I was fortunate enough to meet Ryan when he was 17, and my life has just been so full.
Ryan cannot speak. He literally cannot take care of himself, but he has a spirit and a personality that is second to none.
He conveys more with his smiles and his laugh and his eyes than anybody can. He's, I think, as happy as I am to have him as a son. When we were interviewing agencies, and it was 2 years, they talked about different programs they had, but then when it got down to it, Ryan was too young, too disabled, there weren't openings, there were always excuses.
Until we met the folks at Ability Beyond Disability.
They reached out with loving arms to him and so much support to Pat and I. It was such a turnaround. He has grown so much with Ability Beyond Disability. It's just, there's no question.
For instance, he might go down to Mount Kisco on a walk on a nice day, and he loves to go to the barber because there's a young lady there that cuts his hair, and I think he's got a crush on her. And it's things like that.
Orion is involved in so many activities. He has fabulous housemates that he loves. He's just so enriched, and they've just so enriched our lives.
They should come and see it, experience it firsthand, meet the staff. It permeates the entire organization. They're caring for the clients.
There is no question. Anybody who considers Ability Beyond Disability, I don't know if there's any other choice.
It would be the best possible place in the world to take your child.
It was really my brother Jim who started the whole organization. It's important that that work that everybody has done to achieve this level of success continue.
One of the great rewards to reaching the ripe old age of being in her mid-80s, as I am now, is to know that the most humble of efforts, if done with sincerity and love, will realize something as wonderful as an organization that has the outreach and the accomplishments that Ability Beyond Disability can claim. Thank you.